Mr. Waffle Waffles.
The Black Ops 6 Zombies Season 1 patch started off really strong, but is quickly turning into the worst patch for the game that we have seen so far.
I didn't like it. I don't know if this is a placebo effect or not, but I think the Marine SP shoddy one has been nerfed, and I freaking hate it. Oh, why? Every time Call of Duty makes a good shoddy one, they freaking ruin it. Sorry. Pet peeve. Let's keep going.
This is because Treyarch have already nerfed several of the things that the patch introduced, which we were all really enjoying. 3 in a row, baby? Whoa, what the? But they've left in the game a bunch of the bugs that make the game much less fun to play. So in the video today, we'll be covering that. We'll be covering new Citadel Day More info that's come out in the last few hours. That's the Black Ops 6 Zombies DLC 1 map. We'll be covering new leaks.
I am so excited for the new map! I've already defeated the Easter eggs for both, which we're gonna be doing a run of that hopefully soon. In fact, I might even be hitting up Burrito and Chaos to see if they're available tomorrow.
About perks that are coming later this year and next year, and field upgrades. And we've got some hidden changes that were in the Season 1 patch that you guys might not have spotted, that I've found and my stream have found on Twitch from messing around with the game over the last 24 hours. So if you're new around here, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, because only like 10% of you guys are, and that's abominable. And without further ado, we'll get started. Number 1, Treyarch have removed the XP tokens that we were all given yesterday, so they are no longer accessible, which is so unnecessarily bad. So the context here is that during Modern Warfare 3,
what if I told you this was the last ad you would ever see?
or Cold War or other legacy Call of Duty titles, you might have earned double XP tokens, double weapon XP, double battle pass XP, etc.
Yes, I'm gonna switch to the Brave browser. It looks like Opera GX is unfortunately no longer able to actually play things without ads, so I'm probably gonna be switching over to Brave soon.
From various things. It could be from free events in the game, it could be from monster energy codes, like all sorts of stuff. And those have not transferred from those previous games to Black Ops 6, from the launch of Black Ops 6 through to the start.
I had so many double XPs, dude. So I've been saving so many weapon double XPs, dude, because I was anticipating the new game. I have so many double weapon XP saved up, dude. I hate it, hate it, hate it. And if you're gonna do this, then I deserve to have a double. If I freaking use a freaking, I have it right here, you can hear it. You hear the crinkling? You hear it? I got 2 master energies here. And if I'm gonna freaking put the code in the stupid website to get a freaking double XP, I deserve to have a double XP in Warzone and in Blob 6. You need to give me 2 now. If you're gonna freaking separate them, you need to give me 2 now. Not 1. I deserve 2 double XPs. Screw you!
Season 1. But then suddenly, when Season 1 started, those tokens were accessible in the game's menu.
It's BS, bro.
You could absolutely splash out on 20 hours of double XP. The problem is, Treyarch have now just removed that from the UI for no reason. Like, clearly, those are all hooked up on the game's backend. Like, there's no tech issue here preventing this from being possible. It's literally just Treyarch being stingy with the XP.
But they want you to buy the battle pass. They're being freaking stingy as all get out. Y'all finally made a good Call of Duty. Especially y'all made a good Call of Duty Zombies. And now you're gonna do this BS?
Tokens and not giving us stuff that we already should have on our Activision accounts. It's just silly. Like, I feel like this is such a PR gaffe that they could have so easily avoided. And I think there is a workaround right now where you might be able to still activate them if you go into one of the other Call of Duty modes and then you come back to Black Ops 6. So for example, if you go to Warzone and then you go back. But honestly, they might just patch that like tomorrow for all I know. So Treyarch doesn't want you to have your double XP. Tragic. Next, there is a new Dragon's Breath attachment that you can get in the Battle Pass. I believe it's on page 7, and I did a whole video on it yesterday being like, this is so much fun. Like, this is the funnest weapon in the game right now, because you can chain fire and napalm and all that good stuff from the Dragon's Breath rounds to other zombies that you're not even shooting using
Which is phenomenal, because there's also a calling card that requires you to get the emulation award multiple times, where basically you set a bunch of zombies on fire and then wipe them all out.
Fire augments, and it was so much fun. Like, it was so cool to see, and it really made me excited about the build potential in the game. To be able to sort of layer things in that way, like, it was awesome, and it's already been patched. 24 hours, that's all we got. So Dragon's Breath is still there, but you can't chain it with Deadwire anymore, which I think is just so sad, to be honest. Like, it wasn't so OP that it made the game so stupidly easy that you just unlock everything in like an hour. Like,
it was genuinely a really good strategy, honestly.
It worked that way. It was
and what sucks is that the fact that like you could still technically chain it, but now you gotta do the freaking perk code, the freaking what is it, elemental pop.
fun.
So
and
it's
they've
like,
just
bro,
nerfed fun here.
this is built into the game. Why are you taking
yet
it off?
another nerf from Treyarch, they've closed the exploit where if you were doing the pirate Easter egg on Terminus, you could go through that egg, get all the way to the end where you get the double points amulet, and then you could basically, I think, pick it up and drop it, and pick it up and drop it a bunch of times, and then when you picked it up, it would multiply the effect on you, so you could get like 100 million points or something all in one go. Like, it was very easy to get a crazy number of points.
What the hell? I didn't know about that!
Keep in mind, this is a PvE mode, right? So you being overpowered just means the zombies are losing. It doesn't mean that other players are missing out. You're getting an unfair competitive advantage.
Yeah, it's freaking
or something.
PvE,
it's
bro.
PvE. But Treyarch
There's
already
so many problems
have
on
patched it
PvP.
in 24
This is what
hours.
you're focusing
and like,
on.
granted, I want to be clear. Maybe I
They
sound a
don't
little
want you
salty
to
right
level
now
up too
that they're
fast,
patching
right?
exploits that are exploits.
then you won't buy
right?
the battle
Like, if
pass.
they're not intended by the devs, then fair enough. But the problem is that the priority is there when there are some of these other issues in the game right now that then.
One sec. Sorry. Papa and Mama Monkey were locked out of the house. They forgot their keys. I had to go unlock the door real quick.
Not fixing. So let's talk about some of those things before we get back to the Treyarch nerfs in a little bit. Number one, you guys need to avoid the crafting table in zombies right now for a couple of reasons. So number one, I had a lot of people asking if you can craft the hand cannon yet. You can't. Okay, so don't even bother going to it to try and craft one. It's not there yet because it's from an in-season event. But number two, the main thing, the bug in the game is that it will eat your salvage. So you basically can run over to it and you could be like, oh yeah, I'm going to craft myself several, I don't know, C4s or something, or several frags or several decoys or whatever, and you could spam that button down trying to craft them, and it's going to eat the salvage that you spend, but you're only going to get one of the thing. So you'll just be completely out of thousands of salvage, but you'll only get like one tomahawk, which sucks, especially if you're doing speedruns on the map or you're trying to do the bomb step on Terminus for the Easter egg.
So they don't fix that. Cool.
Like, it really ruins your flow. Number three, people have been having this really weird issue where their sprint cancel reload kind of interaction has not been behaving the way they've expected it.
Okay, so that, to be fair though, so they addressed that. You go to the settings now, and you can actually turn that off or turn it on. They made it optional, because some people do genuinely like to sprint cancel reloads, and some people hate it, you know, so it's there.
And there is one change that you can make to fix this, and that's to go into your settings here, and there's actually an option. If you just search the word sprint in the search bar in the settings, you'll find it, and you can choose whether you want sprint cancels reload to be on or off. And
Personally, I have it off. Not a big fan of it. I typically like to do the switch weapons if I have to do it.
Other modes as well. So if you change it in Warzone, I'm pretty sure it's going to change it in Zombies as well. Now, it's nice that the setting is there, but the problem is that there's actually levels to where this has gone wrong in Zombies that make it still consistently really frustrating. So currently there's a problem in the game where if you don't have sprint cancel your reload and you just continue to reload as you sprint, you actually cannot sprint. Like, you just go extremely slowly, and it means that the zombies just clatter into you from behind, and you're dead. And sprinting also, in general, right now...
I have to be totally fair, and I might even boot up the game to test this out, but I haven't noticed that so much, and I don't know if that's because I used, stamina with the ability to reload while sprinting.
Feels like it's been detuned a
but
little bit.
I'm noticing that on his footage, he does have that as well.
So you don't get the full speed compared to what you did before the patch. And so this means that just overall, if you've got a weapon with anything more than a 0.5 second reload time, you're going to constantly feel sluggish and weighed down in the game, and it makes it so much less fun to play, to be honest. Now, everything we've talked about so far in the video sucks,
I can see that being very annoying,
like,
and to be honest with you, I haven't put too much, like, thought into that specifically, and I gotta go test that out for myself and see if that's the case.
Just break up the pace a little bit here.
That would explain a lot of
situations
where I get freaking
today
smacked,
and
even
in
though
the
I
patch
thought
that came out at Season 1 launch. And then we'll get back to some more of the nerfs. I can't take it all in one go, man. So there's been a playlist update where Radioactive 24/7 has been replaced by Nuketown 24/7, and that will be music to multiplayer players' ears. They apparently did.
I love it because it's a good way to grind certain weapons. However, frankly, I feel like Zombies has now become the ultimate way of like leveling up your weapons quickly.
This because of community feedback, so I guess for once you make yourself heard, and sometimes they will actually listen. They've also introduced directed mode, as we've all seen, which is incredible.
Nuketown is one of the few maps where I can go in with a shotgun or a sniper and feel confident in my ability to actually be able to like play the match out really well.
For grinding camos, and I'll be making separate videos about that for sure. But in directed mode at Season 1 launch, you couldn't load into it with friends, but without squad fill turned on. So if you wanted to just play a 3-player game without a random, you couldn't do it. But that has been patched now and it's fixed, so you can now play in co-op, but you can turn off squad fill and still play the Easter eggs just fine in directed. Also, I want to give Treyarch credit for updating the UI for Gobblegums to make them much more readable and just look better in general. It both feels more zombies now and also actually helps with gameplay understandability and readability and clarity. So they do deserve credit for that, and I want to see these same UI changes apply to the other parts of the UI as the year goes on. I mean, give us the option even to toggle between the different old and new UI styles so we can pick the one that suits us best. I think that would be great, but I do think that this is at least a step in the right direction with just the gobbles specifically. They've also added an in-game timer now in Zombies, which is so funny because just a couple of days ago, I spoke to JGod on my podcast and we were talking about how it would be so easy for them to just add an in-game timer and make people happy, and they've done it, so that is a win. Thank you, Treyarch. Next, another nerf
it's a win, but not a win for the reasons you think. So here's the reason why I personally, conspiracy theory time, the reason I believe they added a timer is because too many people were using directed mode in order to max level out a lot of their weapons. So now, if you go into directed mode, I don't know if it was like this before or not, you know, it might debunk my conspiracy, but now, if you go past a 5-hour time limit, it will just end the game now in directed mode. So heads up there, if you go past 5 hours of in-game time, you will, like, it'll just end the game.
In the form of the canister duplication.
Not a major
so
like down, you know, like you can just start up a new game, but just something I had to point out.
Your full ether canister filled, and then you brought it to the, what was it called, SDG, and you drop the canister as you place the canister, and that means that you clone it down below you, and you don't need to do the second LTG step. And we all assumed this was never going to get patched, because it's the sort of thing that you're only ever going to really do if you're a speedrunner, and so it's probably...
Yeah, that seems like a very good speedrun strat.
Fine, right? But I've had a bunch of reports coming in that it's gone now, which I think is kind of a shame, to be honest. I kind of liked that it was there, but at the same time, I reckon...
There's so many other issues that they need to address before they even get to that.
That you were skipping big chunks of the Easter egg, and so I don't hate this one too much. However, the shock stick skip...
No, I think there's something to be said for speedrun. Like, there's always something to be said for little glitches like that speedrunners find, that I feel like should genuinely be left alone, because it's kind of like this thing of like, you know what? That's just a little something for the speedrunners, you know, to use if need be. It doesn't affect the gameplay. It doesn't affect the fairness of the game. It doesn't affect the like, it doesn't really affect like anyone in the sense of like multiplayer. Like nobody's gonna come out here like, I just made the game worse. You get what I'm saying?
On Terminus and the node connector dupe on Terminus both do still work. I've done both of those in speedruns myself on Twitch in the last 24 hours.
Compared to buffing the range on the Marine SP, the Marine SP needs to be buffed.
That's good that they can remain in the game. Next, let's talk a little bit about the new DLC 1 Zombies map, Citadel Day More. There was a huge amount of confusion in my stream chat yesterday because people were thinking that it was going to release at Season 1 start, but that was never the case. It was always going to be in season, which means that it's at Season 1 Reloaded, and that's going to be around December 11th. Now, the new info here is coming from a variety of leakers. One of them is Reality UK. Now, Reality has shared that in the code for the game, okay, if you're looking at the actual game files themselves, each Zombies map has its own code name. So you've got like Opal and Garnet and things like that. Like they usually have a theme. Sometimes it's a color, red, blue, green, whatever. But the code name for Citadel Day More is Bloodstone. And I think that's really interesting because sure, Bloodstone, okay, we're going with gems, with quartz and garnet and stuff like that. But Bloodstone specifically has a little bit more meaning in the zombie storyline because of what Rick pulls out of the lava in Blood of the Dead. Does that not look like a bloodstone to you? And does that not mean that we're going to be getting some kind of callback to either blood or at least to the Ether story in some kind of more meaning?
Yes, so here's what I thought. Okay, hold on. So I don't want to put spoilers, but at the end of the Call of Duty Zombies, you get the freaking mirror. Hold on. Look. This is the artifact from Call of Duty, the Voyage of Despair, right? The Sentinel artifact. Bam! The same exact Sentinel's artifact is in the latest Call of Duty. Please. Frick, and Bird Burrito, I'm calling you out. I'm calling you out, Bird Burrito. If you're here in the chat, please let me know. But I'm calling you out. You get the same exact artifact at the end of Call of Duty Lap 6, the Terminus quest, after defeating the Kraken. So I don't know if it's gonna be related to I don't know if it's gonna be related specifically to Blood of the Dead, but they're definitely putting a callback to the Titanic to the Voyage of Despair for sure. And I believe this is them opening up the entire, like, they're opening this up to all of those again.
Meaningful way in that map. I mean, we've heard these rumors of premise coming back.
I truly believe they're going to introduce time travel, and that's how they're going to introduce Richtofen and everybody back into the series. Let's go.
Right? So who knows if there's going to be some kind of links there, or the beginnings of them making some kind of appearance. There's also leaks which have been shared.
Here's my hope, and I'm putting this in this video. Please. Like this is my theory. If it's gonna be, damn it, no, stop. Ah! I hate this, dude. I hate opera. Sometimes I really just freaking hate opera, I swear. Bro, today opera is just messing with me today, isn't it? Anyway, I'm really hoping. So, if you remember in Blood of the Dead, Richtofen seals Misty, and all them, he seals them inside of the freaking cryopods, which later on they get released, right? So I'm wondering if that's going to be their reintroduction into the freaking main storyline. I'm kind of hoping, because I do miss those freaking, that team. What the frick is this?
Let's talk about my-
Okay, that's something we're going to watch later.
Why do I look like-
Yeah, we'll watch that later. Watch that later. Frick.
The Black Ops 6 Zombies
No!
season...
Damn it! It's okay. I know where we're at.
I'm a cool
We're watching that earlier, I'm sorry.
...self from being able to pick up the... to get out of that box...
Frick, where were we?
...there's something to really sink their teeth into, right? Right now, to be referring to Janus Towers and the mansion... Like, that would be... going to be getting some kind of callback to either Blood or at least to the Ether story in some kind of more meaningful way.
I'm hoping so. I'm really hoping
we've
so.
heard these rumors of premise coming back, right? So who knows if there's going to be some kind of links there or the beginnings of them making...
I mean, specifically since Samantha is being, like, teased. Specifically Samantha is being teased to make a return. I genuinely hope that this is the direction they're taking it in, because it could, really open up the bigger overarching story back up. And let's be honest, nobody cares about these freaking, like, new people. Like, we want to see the freaking, like...
There's also leaks which have been shared by Reality saying
we
that
want to see the original storyline
Daymore is indeed
less of the dark, shadowy dimension and more of the classic dimension traveling, like, reality warping, reality altering storyline. That stuff was interesting. Once you start to bring the dark dimension into it, it starts to sort of, like, paint the picture of the bad guy. It becomes a lot more boring, honestly, as opposed to being this primordial, freaking, like, chaotic soup of, like, like, I don't know what you would call it, but, like, primal dark energy. You get me? Like, it gives it so much more, like, of a let's say, it's the difference between season 1 Stranger Things and season whatever the frick we're on Stranger Things, where you simply know too much about the enemy and about the dark dimension that they start to become boring.
melee weapon. So all our hopes and dreams of potentially having elemental Excaliburs as the wonder weapon may actually become reality, which is like, I'm gonna cry, dude. Like, that would be so sick. And on top of that, there's also suggestion in the game code that the Wunderwaffe DG2 is indeed coming back to Black Ops 6 Zombies, but
That would be
it's
awesome!
not necessarily known yet whether that's gonna be in Citadel Day More or in a future DLC map. Now, the future DLC maps seem, right now, to be referring to Janus Towers and the Mansion as separate maps. So one of those might be DLC
I would love to see the mansion, especially since they bring it up in the storyline. I think it'd be cool.
2, one of them might be DLC 3, for example. And it wouldn't surprise me if the Mansion map is where we ended up getting the Wunderwaffe, because that's where Richtofen has the Wunderwaffe when we see him in the Liberty Falls intro cutscene. On top of that, there's also suggestions that Frost Blast, the field upgrade, is going to be coming back to Black Ops 6 Zombies, and it seems to be slated for Season 3 launch. And that makes me think that
That would be pretty cool. Frost Blast was very, very, very good.
it's pretty likely that the second DLC map for Black Ops 6 Zombies will also launch at Season 3 launch, so we're probably going to have a pretty quiet Season 2, and it remains to be seen what Treyarch is going to do to fill those gaps, but we're going to need something, because if multiplayer and Warzone and everything else is getting a bunch of content over that 6-week to 2-month period, they're surely going to give Zombies players something to really sink their teeth into, right? Right? For another quick leak, Alan
Listen, they haven't exactly been kind to the Zombies community for a while, okay?
Third 90 has shared that the original Wonder Fizz might be coming back at some point this year, which is a little weird because we do already have a Wonder Fizz machine, but it seems like the original one is in the game code, and that lets you get a random perk instead of a perk that you select. Strange. However,
I can see them doing a situation where rounds 1 through 25, it's a random perk, and after 25, you can choose your own perk. I can totally see
I
that.
have a theory about this, and that's that Classic mode is still in the game files. And so maybe in Classic mode, we're going to get the Classic Wonder Fizz, and then the new Wonder Fizz will be saved for the new version of the Zombies maps that we're getting in Terminus, Liberty Falls, etc. Reality's shared that alongside Classic mode, Jingle Hells, the LTM, Turned, Grief, and weirdly, Nap are also in the game files to this day. So we'll have to wait and see for what all of those turn into, and if they're LTMs or if they're new entire playlists or modes, just like Directed was. Now, another thing that I want to address that was like a community moment rather than something that Treyarch themselves did is that when the patch came out, there was this spreadsheet that a bunch of really awesome people on Reddit have been putting together that lists out all the DPS of all the guns in the game. It tells you which guns are best in Zombies, which guns aren't, etc. But they made a mistake, and so everyone yesterday was like, oh my god, the XM4 is the absolute best gun in the game because this DPS spreadsheet says so, but they got it wrong, and the XM4 is just not OP. It's actually just completely average right now, so don't fall for the mistake on the spreadsheet. There was an error there. The XM4 is mid, but all ARs did get buffed, so it's better than
It is mid, but it's also basically the TAR. It's basically the MP4. It's the Jack of all trades, master of none weapon, super accurate. It's actually really good. I don't care. I've been using it. I've been smacking with it. The only weapon that's outgunned me so far is the KSV, and it's freaking good.
it was a week ago, let's say. There's also a camo glitch right now where you can swap your Modern Warfare 3 camos to Black Ops 6 guns. So if you got all those camos back in the day, you can bring those over, and it looks crazy. And like, I was shocked that this even worked when I saw it, but yeah, it's a real thing. So I said we would return to nerfs, right, and things that are wrong with the patch. Let's keep going with some of those now. So if you're doing the Terminus Easter egg, you can actually completely lock yourself from any progress. And so if you use the Perkaholic, for instance, maybe you're doing like a Gobblegum speedrun or something like
Dude, this happened to us. We got locked out of the freaking Terminus Easter egg, and we hated it, dude.
that. You're screwed, actually. You don't get to continue your speedrun because if you open the lab where you build the Beam Smasher and you kill the scientist there, Anya, using a weapon that has dead wire on it, you can completely soft lock yourself from being able to pick up the multiphasic injector from the briefcase in the C tower. And because you can't get it, you can't put it in the machine, so you can't build the Beam Smasher. So yeah.
So Chaos did this the other day, and it completely ruined our Terminus build. We were not able to get the limited time calling card because of this freaking glitch, and it pissed me off so freaking hard, dude. I didn't even record it. I didn't put it out because the whole purpose was just for us to like get used to it so we could do a run on stream and just sort of like show you guys how to do the Easter egg. We were on a time schedule. Literally the day after that happened to us, they freaking called the calling card time frame and it was over. They added directed and now we can't get the calling card anymore. It pissed me off
have
so
fun with
hard,
that.
bro.
You're just forced to either rely on the box or restart your game. Another way you could lose a Perkaholic is if you get stuck inside an ammo cache, like this guy did. Yep, he's used his Perka and he is glued to the ground. And he's not only glued to the ground, he's about to get kicked for being AFK, despite the fact that he's trying his best to get out of that box and to shoot the zombies.
Oh, that
so that's
sucks.
another bug that Treyarch hasn't patched in favor of fixing all those other fun things I mentioned at the start of the video. Also, in terms of things that they haven't fixed, the bug rounds, like those vermin rounds on Liberty Falls, they still take like 15 minutes when you get in the high rounds, or longer. Like, they last way too long right now for no reason. That's just still there. Don't know why they haven't patched it. And also, split screen is still broken. Like, the number of people that I've had coming into my streams saying I really wanted to try this game split screen, like I really wanted to do some co-op or whatever, and they're having a terrible time with it. It's apparently just toasted, and I haven't actually played this for myself yet, but I've had so many reports of it that I figured I should mention it. And if you guys have any reports of stuff that you want to send in to me, hop on my Reddit. It's linked in the comments down below. And if there's any clips that you want to share for my tips videos, or if there's anything that you want to share for the patches or things that they've gotten wrong or whatever, I'd love to credit you guys with some of the things that I cover in these videos. And the best way to do that is if you post it on my Reddit so I can see it. Another glitch that's not been patched is when you mantle over a car and it just turns your head 180 degrees for no reason. They also haven't fixed a bunch of broken challenges. So for example, the GS45, you need to get hipfire kills, but if you pack a punch it and you get your hipfire kills, it doesn't count as hipfire kills. For no reason. They've also nerfed the damage that the Sally and Fourth does to the Patient 13 boss. I'm not sure exactly if this is splash damage specifically that's been nerfed, or it's just the Sallies themselves, but the damage numbers that you're getting with them on the boss are lower than they were before the patch, and I also can't fully tell if they've adjusted...
Okay, that we did notice. That, Chaos and I both noticed. He's a big Sally and Fourth fan.
The boss health. They may have done. You guys can let me know in the comments whether you think that the boss health has been changed. But another thing...
I noticed that using my XM4 triple pack-a-punch as opposed to my Sally and Fourth triple pack-a-punch dealt way more damage to the boss. That's a fact. That's literally how I beat that specific boss.
That I mentioned earlier in the video was another nerf to field augments, right? So the way it worked previously is that if you were using an augment that would give you extra charges, so extra charges of Ether Shroud or Energy Mine or whatever, using that would mean that you would also charge it up a little bit more quickly, so you'd get to 2 charges faster. But that's been nerfed, so you no longer get it any faster, so you just very slowly ship up all the way through to your 2 charges. And that really drastically impacts the experience that people have doing the Terminus Easter egg.
Legitimately, the only time I found myself getting like 2 charges of Energy Mine was when I had one already and got a full power. Genuinely.
Because it means that you're less likely to have 2 Ether Shroud charges for the bomb step, which you really need them for. Another bug that hasn't been fixed is sights disappearing. So you can put a sight on a weapon and then you load into the game and you just have iron sights for no reason. Not fixed. And honestly, all of these things just make me sad because there is so much to love in this game, and I have infinite patience for all of these bugs and infinite patience for all of these issues when it feels like Treyarch is kind of on...
It's like they only want to fix the things that could potentially be used to level up. Everything else doesn't matter to them.
Our side and acting in our best interests as players as we go through all these challenges and sink all these times into this product, right? And sink all this money into it as well. But it's when those problems persist and they remain, and especially when it feels like they're not patching things that mean that we want to spend more money, like, oh god, it glitched out on me again, so I need to buy more gobblegums. Or, oh man, this camo grind right now is taking me forever because it's not tracking my kills appropriately, so I only get my hipfire kills with the GS45 before I pack a punch it, which takes a million years. Like, I can stomach that when we're also allowed to find fun things to do in a PvE game mode to keep us happy while they work out the kinks, right? But if their focus doggedly, aggressively is only ever to work out the fun kinks and not the bad kinks, then our priorities are messed up, right? I don't think that this would be nearly as much of an issue if Treyarch also just communicated their thinking or their intentions in the patch notes a little bit better. Because right now, the patch notes are devoid of any humanity. There's no personal kind of, here's what we're thinking about this, here's why we've done this, here's what the data suggests, etc. It's nothing. It's bare bones. And I've said this with every patch that's come out over the last couple of weeks, which is even when it's good and when it's bad as well, a little bit of just sprinkling of, we felt like this was happening here, so we've done a blah, would help us be like, okay, we get it. We understand what you guys are doing. Fair enough, right? If you don't give us a because, like, this is a basic thing. You just don't give us a because.
We don't need a because. It's very obvious that they're doing anything and everything to make sure that you buy. There's nothing getting in the way of you wanting to buy the battle pass, and everything else is secondary. Let's be honest.
Have nothing to assign as a reason for why things are changing, and so people just make up their own reasons, and naturally we're cynics because Activision have screwed a lot of us over in the past, right? And so
we're not cynics. We're just being realistic. I don't like this take. I don't like this take of like people being cynical. No, we're being realistic. It's not a cynical thing to see. It's not cynical to look at the frickin' sky and say that the frickin' sky is blue. It's obvious to everyone that the frickin' sky is blue, and if we're frickin' looking at it and it's frickin' happening in front of us, what the frick are we supposed to do?
Reasons that we conjure up in our heads are more negative than they would be if Treyarch just vocalized what they were doing a bit better. So that's all I'm asking for. Treyarch, I love the game, you're doing great, but this particular area is a pain point that I think you could improve at. If you guys agree with what I'm saying here, leave some comments down below. Maybe we can convince Treyarch that it is a good idea to change their approach a little bit here, and I'll hopefully see you in the next patch notes video where we've got some things to celebrate. I'll see you then.
Absolutely amazing video, my dudes. Please, please, please go. I'm gonna sub to ROFLWAFLs. Please be sure to like. Please be sure to comment. Please be sure to drop them a like, a comment, all that good stuff so the algorithm knows that you love the video. I'm gonna go ahead and share this on my Discord. Please, please, please go and drop them that like. It's gonna be on the Bannana Cantina. It's gonna be right on the live stream chat, my dudes. Absolutely great, great, great observations. I agree with absolutely everything he said. Freaking phenomenal. Go check him out. Thanks for hanging out. Like or dislike, comment, and subscribe. And become a Monodachi today. I live stream all day, Monday through Friday, so go say hi. That's all for now, Monos. Goodbye, and thanks for swinging by. Salut!